Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Football Podcast, episode 17. Your old friends Jonathan and Neil joining you as ever from Monday Madness to bring you through all the ongoings and things that happened in the Premier League this week. And fair to say things did happen, as it always seems to be in the Premier League.
We're all gonna die!
As you can tell, Neil has been keeping up with current affairs, that we're going to very much softball as part of this podcast because, quite frankly, I think we all need a distraction from it at this stage.
Just talking football amidst the backdrop of impending doom.
Yeah, I will say the Football Podcast nuclear bunker is looking rather well decorated, I must say. I prepared it well in advance. Yeah, no, it's we did a good job in it because it was eventually. Yeah, because we were eventually going to use it anyway, so we might as well put some effort into it. Not sure about the chocolate fondue set. I might get rid of that. Anyway, moving on. Let's actually talk about football, which is our mandate. Let's do that, and kick off then with the start of this weekend's action, which was in alphabetical order. Was not Arsenal. Take that, Neil, you prick. Let's start off instead with Bournemouth versus Sunderland, which is. You may have thought that would have been a cakewalk for high-flying, erudite Bournemouth, but no. David Moyes won a football match in 2016. If you wanted any indication that 2016 was a terrible year, David Moyes winning a football match really is the worst thing to happen this year. Don't believe anyone else.
I'm telling you.
So,
y'all knew it had to happen sometime, but fucking hell.
Well, statistically sure, but we all really didn't want it to happen, did it?
Yeah.
I'm
not going to lie, I was really hoping Sunderland would beat the Derby County record from 2007.
That can still happen, I mean, it's still a very long season to go, like. Or I don't know, maybe Swansea might get there at some stage. I think it's started to go that way for them. Either way, let's go through this match. First of all, Dan Gosling opened the scoring for Bournemouth. It was looking alright for them, to be fair, in the first 20 minutes. And then Victor Anichebe does what Victor Anichebe does well and ends up being a very big, inconvenient man in the penalty box. Holds up play, has a very good strike, and makes it 1-1. And then it was just like it was a really weird part of the game then where Bournemouth were playing really, really well and had all of the ball, had all of the shots on goal. Sunderland went down to 10 men because Stephen Pienaar just decided to get sent off. And then Sunderland won. It was the most bizarre thing. Like the one opportunity they had, again it was Anichebe in the box, got fouled, and Defoe took the penalty, and Sunderland won the fucking game. It was insane, completely against the run of play. But really, when your team is that bad, nearly every win is going to feel against the run of play. So I guess you have to take them as they come.
Yeah, pretty much. Although to be honest with you, it was hilarious when Pienaar got sent off. The camera kind of, because Moyes was in the stands, serving a touchline ban, but just seeing the haunted look in Moyes' eyes after Pienaar was sent off was actually quite chilling. You know the way when people say, gaze into the abyss and the abyss gazes into you? Right here, I think with David Moyes, the abyss doesn't just look back. It comes round for dinner, a few drinks, and a game of cards once every week.
Makes sense why he went for the Sunderland job in the end.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because the stadium light is actually ironic, isn't it? That's kind of like a joke thing they had back in the day.
Stadium of black light.
Yeah, the stadium of flashlight, more like. Anyway, we have to be fair, it's the first win for Moisey, and it didn't really do much. In fairness, they're still 19th in the relegation zone. It's not
still a poor team, but at least they've shown some fight today.
Yeah, I mean, I think the real kind of shock, what the surprise really was in Ichibi, just seeing him how useful he still can be, even after the time at Everton when he wasn't particularly that good, nor was he particularly that good at West Brom, where his mandate was basically, can you be a big, large man in the box and not do much? Sound, that's great.
Get in the way.
Thank you. That's what he is. He is get in the way man. He's the world's worst superhero. It's like, yes, I'm here to be a mild inconvenience. Thanks, Victor. Do you mind scoring some goals? No. No, that's that. I'm not here to do that. He's always he reminds me of Josie Altidore. I think statistically, Josie Altidore is the worst Premier League striker to have ever played in the league. Because he played for no, it's true. He played for Hull and for Sunderland. I think in those appearances, the joint appearances, 50 or 60 appearances, he only scored 1 goal. I think statistically he is the worst Premier League striker in the league, forever and ever.
Forever and ever and ever.
Forever and ever and ever. So I mean, well done, Victor Anichebe. You are no longer as bad as Josie Altidore because you've actually won a game for Sunderland, but still, that's not saying much, really. But for Sunderland, I think, in fairness to Sunderland, anything could save them at this stage, and they take it. But and furthermore to that, I think Jordan Pickford, deserves a special round of applause. The save he made at the end of the game was remarkable because Josh King, because Josh King just got, I think he got the ball off either Musette or Arthur, and was so much force on it, and he was on the half volley, I think. And
he fucking drilled it.
He drilled it, yeah. It was going top corner, and then Pickford, I'm almost certain, shattered his wrist, or at least it should have. But he got a full pound to it. He's a, say what you will about Sunderland, but they have uncovered a gem in Jordan Pickford. I think he's a really good goalkeeper, and is probably the saving grace of Sunderland's season. Really, really, I think most of the young players are probably the one silver lining to it all.
Yeah, pretty much. They've also not Pinar. Fucking Anichebe is a bit of a beast.
Mm-hmm.
I think Bamford didn't Bamford play today?
Bamford.
Yeah.
I think you're thinking of Burnley, old chap.
Oh fuck, that's Burnley. Yeah, shit. Shit. Yeah. What the fuck am I meant to be talking about?
That's a good question. I'd love to know what it is.
Anyway. Yeah, I just realised Anichebe had a great fucking game today. He's actually, to be honest, he's got a good turn of speed for a guy who's so heavily built. Yeah, that's the weirdest thing. I don't know if it's because he's back with Moyes now, but he actually looks like he's a competent player now. Because Moyes, he picks players that he thinks are good. He has his lieutenants, PNR, Fellaini, Anichebe. Osman. I don't think Leon Osman's going to be coming out of retirement to join Sunderland, though. I don't think. I somehow doubt that. I think I'd rather stay retired.
I would too, to be honest. I would actually denounce football altogether, really. But that's just my view. But
yeah, didn't I hear? Didn't Anichebe actually fracture a rib towards the end of that game?
Oh yeah, I heard about this. Apparently he got a broken rib at the start of the game and played through it. And
fucking hell.
Yeah, he's. Fair play to him. In fairness, I'm almost certain that's true, and he did get a broken rib, and yeah, just well done to him for playing through it. Because, like I said, if he wasn't on the pitch, Sunderland would have lost that game, and probably would have lost it quite handsomely.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I think a better scoreline would have been Bournemouth 1 and Anichebe 2.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that. Really, Bournemouth should have won this. They've had, especially when PNR did get sent off, there was that 20-minute period where they just had Sunderland under siege. Every Sunderland player was in the box bar Defoe. Bournemouth players were just around them, they were fucking trying to herd them like cattle, and they should have put it away. And we're gonna get to a game later on on the same day where the game was at 1-0. One team was very much in the ascendancy, and just because you don't kill them off and you score extra goals, you give them the opportunity to get back, and that's what happened. Sunderland just took an inch, basically, or saw an inch and took a mile. That's the best way to put it.
I mean, they conceded almost 70% of the ball, and 7 shots on target. What about 15 off target?
About it's a lot of.
So over 20 shots in total that they faced, but another. It's a good one. It's a great performance for them.
Yeah. The difference is though, are they gonna keep? Is it sustainable? Because I don't have much confidence that it is.
Well, they have at home next, so it'll fucking wanna be.
Yeah. In fairness, we were kind of fascinated last week about how much of a bum fight that match is gonna be. But now you have those two teams on a winning streak now, essentially. It's something's gonna have to come to a head. It's a 6-pointer, probably I call it a 9-pointer, quite frankly, because it certainly feels that way. for both teams. Well, more so for Hull really, because the win for Hull kind of nullifies how good the Sunderland win was for them, because there's still a 6-point gap to safety. You know, if Sunderland did lose this game, and obviously with the Hull result, you know, Sunderland would have been completely stranded. So, it's
definitely a monster of a lifeline, and if they can follow it up with a win, or at least a draw, actually, anything but a loss to Hull next week, after the interval.
Yeah.
You know, and they'll be, you know, they'll really sort it out. That'll keep Hull at 10, and Sunderland of 5 points, wasn't it?
Yeah, so they'll be up to 8 then. So
8 or 6, you know.
Yeah.
So, and that's good. I mean, like, they were in touching distance then of 11 points, that's what's going to take them to 17th.
Yeah. Problem is though, they're playing at home.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
problem is that they're Sunderland.
That is also, you're quite right actually. Do you know what, we shouldn't really be giving them hope at all. Let's move on then and talk about one game I actually quite enjoyed this weekend, which is Burnley versus Crystal Palace. A goal fest. A very, very much a goal fest. It was a 5-goal thriller, no less, and Burnley won the game. It was actually quite comfortable for Burnley for the most part of it. They were 2-0 up after 15 minutes. Vokes and Goodmanson were in charge.
Vokes in the second minute, wasn't it?
Yeah, really, really early. Yeah, I think it was the first goal of the afternoon. I think, or at least it certainly felt like it. And then Goodmanson just rifled the shot at Mandanda. Mandanda parried it, but only managed to parry it into the goal itself, which, you know, is a good trait of a goalkeeper, I think. You know, you know, you can deflect most of the ball, you know, but not necessarily in a different direction. Yeah, it's an added skill, I think, for goalkeepers. I'm sure you can attest to that, Neil. But then
round the fucking post.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's called Emmanuel Almunia, isn't it? I think that's what they call that.
That's called an Almunia.
Fantastic. But then Crystal Palace fought back because they were in a football game in the second half. Wickham, I think, just pretty much walked the ball into the goal, which I think is the only way he can score goals. And then Christian Benteke then scored a penalty 10 minutes from time, which we're thinking then, okay, you know, Palace are in the ascendancy. They're 2-0, they're 2-all up. It's looking like Palace could win this game, if anything is going to win this game. But no, 94th minute, Ashley Barnes, from a wonderful counter-attack from Burnley, wins the game, and all of Turf Moor, I think, moved several inches. You know, because, you know, it's Lancashire. I'm sure the foundations of it are fairly low-free. I'm sure the whole stadium just kind of sank with delight with that win. But fucking hell, what a win for Burnley. When you look at it,
the 94th minute, didn't he? Literally
last kick of the game, yeah, more or less. I think Townsend had the last kick of the game right afterwards, and it smacked off the post. It could easily have been 3-3. It's a crazy game, crazy ending to the game.
No, it was fucking one hell of a game. You know, I think it's kind of revealed the fact that Pardew is a lot of his tactical game is actually a massive gamble.
Yeah,
you know. Well, I like him at Palace, but I've seen Sunday League sides with more organised defence than Palace right now, you know.
But that's what I can't understand, because the one trait of Palace, at least last year and the year before, was just how well marshalled their defence is. And even then, if you wanted to put two no nonsense defenders together in the Premier League, the names that are not at international level per se, but can do a good shift at you. You know, you go for Dan and Tompkins, but Jesus Christ, they're shifting so many goals between them, and then you have a international goalkeeper behind you in Mandanda, and he looks pretty poor as well. He statistically speaking, his goal, he's conceding 3 or 4 goals per game. You know,
should switch back to Hennessy.
I was about to say, yeah. I mean, Wayne Hennessy looked a lot more comfortable. Being the first choice.
But we said this when they first signed Mandanda, and you were suggesting that Mandanda should go in straight as another number one.
I thought he should have.
I said that would have been very unfair to Hennessy, given that he'd had not a flawless season, but he'd had an excellent one. Well, certainly as good as he could do with the defence that's in front of him.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say he had a steady season. You know, he didn't lose any. He didn't concede 4 goals per game like Mandanda is now. You know, if you're really putting focus on the goalkeepers, then you know Hennessy statistically looks like a safer bet. You know, I think the whole like dynamics of the defense changes when you have, because you know yourself, like if you're a goalkeeper, a good bit of that game is communication and talking to your back four, making sure they're all in tune. If there is a communication problem between goalkeeper and defender, that could be a cause of a lot of, especially from the set pieces as well. Because even when we were playing Palace, we scored 2 goals from them from set pieces. That should never happen for Crystal Palace. You know,
no.
Liverpool being a Liverpool side should never be able to beat Crystal Palace at their own game. That being set pieces and fucking headers. Like that's not how it works. You know, that's incongruous to what we know about football. And likewise here, like Crystal Palace shouldn't be shifting 3 or 4 goals per game. And they're still they're scoring goals, sure, but that's not the point.
I think they're really missing like a midfielder like Mile Jedinak. Oh, hang on. They sold him.
Yes, to Aston Villa. That was a smart idea because Alan Pardew didn't like him. And if Alan Pardew doesn't like you, then you can get banged.
I know.
Or get headbutted like David Moyler found out.
Exactly, yeah.
Not
That's okay, baby.
Yeah.
But, yeah, no. Also, another thing is, what the fuck is wrong with Tompkins? Is Tompkins injured or something like that?
I don't know, quite honestly. I presume
he looked really, really good at the start of the season, and now we can't get a game ahead of Delaney, who's like who's 4,500 years old.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't like. I don't want to say I don't like Damien Delaney, but I would definitely put Tompkins ahead of Delaney. You know, and that's the one thing I can't understand about like Crystal Palace and Alan Pardew in particular. Like he's losing games. He's lost a lot of games now this season, and a lot of them are very kind of like, you know, hit and miss. Actually, no, I have the stats up right here. He's lost 4 games in a row now.
Yeah,
and
4 on the trot.
4 on the trot, and granted, like the team isn't performing bad offensively. It is at the back is the problem, and the problem with Pardew is he keeps changing the back four, and there's 2 schools of thought to this. Either like you could, if you think that there is a problem or an issue with the back four, you change one person in it, presumably because you think that's the weak link or someone who's out of form, out of confidence, fitness, whatever it is. But the back four always seems to be different for Crystal Palace every game, because he has like Zeki Friars in at left back in this game against Burnley. He's drifting between Martin Kelly and Joel Ward at right back. And then, as you said, Neil, there's a choice between Dan and Tompkins and Delaney, whoever else is fucking there for central defence. You know, it's not a good way of forming a cohesive defensive unit, which is what Crystal Palace has always been based on. You know, someone can't just jump in and be like, you know, you're our main like central defender this time. It's like, no, you should be basing that off like a series of games and. You know,
absolutely. It's like he's fucking around with it's like somebody fucking around with the Rubik's Cube the way he's reorganising his defence.
Yeah, you know? And the problem is the Rubik's Cube is only getting more complicated.
Exactly. You know, man, you know, I've no idea what Palace really are gonna do. I mean, when you've spent as much money as they have, in all fairness to Burnley, to say some good things about them, like the new players are bedding in really nicely and they're looking like absolute fucking bargains. The floor was excellent. Goodmunson is excellent. Hendricks fucking jizzing in my pants to see him play at this level.
It's great to see him with such freedom. Is the way I see it, because you look at how like, and it's such a simple thing. You know, I think they played the 4-4-2. Against Palace. I could be wrong about that because I know Andre Gray was back in the team, and just the midfield. Like there's only like when you look at how let's use Leicester as a comparison. Leicester last season, everyone loved their midfield because it was Kante and Drinkwater. It looked like so much freedom and so much movement. And you look at Burnley now, and it's not too far away in the sense that their midfield has a similar freedom. You know, like you have Boyd and Marnie on like playing on the wings, and you have Hendrick, Defour. Who else is in the central midfield? Those are the 2 names that are coming to. Goodmanson, is also there as well.
Goodmanson, yeah. And also a lot of the players that they've brought up with them from the promotion have also like they've taken to the Premier League quite well. Like Folks, obviously, and me especially.
And you in particular. I didn't know you played for Burnley.
Droll, very droll.
Shut up, Neil. Fuck you, Neil. That was a funny joke. Fucking yeah. Oh, very good. Yes, quite witty.
Yeah. Southgate was in the stands apparently for this game.
Yeah, apparently I'd say he was there to scout Keane. I think it's probably the main thing because as you know.
One thing, Zaha now put on a fucking bit of a masterclass, to be honest with you. I mean, like, there was a period towards the end of the game when he seemed to literally be everywhere. He was actually on both wings at the same time, I reckon. I genuinely believe that he actually switched the ball across the pitch to himself.
I'm sure there are rules against some sort of time shifting on the pitch, Neil. I think.
Well, if there are, then he's fucking broken because he's fucking everywhere. And every time he got the ball, Burnley did seem to go, oh shit, squeaky bum time.
Yeah,
you know.
I think it was like him kicking into gear that really kind of started Palace's like realizing, oh shit, we're losing. Let's fix that. No,
it's too bad nobody else really fucking.
Well, I mean, Benteke
kind of Townsend certainly didn't get that memo anyway.
No, he kind of got there. But
you're 2-0 down, lads. What? 2-0 down. What? Was that what they were cheering about?
Are those not our fans? Are we not the turn down blue?
Yeah, somebody had to kind of wake him up there. But
oh dear. But yeah, I mean, I'll have to say, I think that even the quality of football from Burnley has been. We said it ourselves. Like they were showing a good game last time they were here, but now this time around they're actually getting results. They're drawing against.
They're up the ninth now,
yeah, I think that's the highest they've been in. I think 50, 40 years. I could be wrong about that, but that is like quite. It is remarkably high for a team like Burnley. They've always kind of drifted to the other side of the table, but. It's well deserved. You know, they've won 4 times this season. They've beaten Liverpool, the only team this season to beat them. And like it's so well deserved. And it's not even for want of, you know, like trying their luck or being really, really fucking jammy. They're doing it through hard work and doing it through energy and doing it through having a brilliant home form. You know, it's not rocket science. It really, really isn't.
Turf Moor is turning into a bit of a fucking fortress.
It is. I don't think they've been beaten at home this season at all. But actually, no, you guys beat them at home.
Yeah, we beat them.
Yeah, one exception, sorry. But either way, like I think they've still won. I think all 4 games they have won has been at home. I think that's the stat I was thinking of. That hasn't changed either. And now they're getting like points away. After all, they got a point at Old Trafford, which is still, I think, the funniest thing that's happened this season, really.
Oh, definitely, it's up there.
It certainly is. Speaking of Manchester, Neil, let's try this for a transition. Let's talk about the blue side of Manchester now, as we move on to Manchester City versus Middlesbrough.
Incidentally, Man City are the next team that Palace are up against after the interlull, so that should be fucking interesting.
That should be very interesting. Can we put on a $5 bet that Alan Pardew will try and headbutt Pep Guardiola?
If he does, I will fucking brilliant.
Well, let's hope so, guys. I mean, we've already predicted a few things in this podcast, namely Wales getting to the semi-final. I'm fairly confident about this. You know, I think we can. I think fate can bow to this podcast. I think we have that ability. But let's talk about this then. Manchester City 1, Middlesbrough 1. Manchester City dropped 2 rather important points against a promoted side, and I think it's fair to say when you look at this between two Spanish coaches at very much complete different spectrums to each other. You have Guardiola, the real kind of like sexy, attractive, attacking football. Karanka, no nonsense, fucking defensive team. Really from the Rafa Benitez school of management, really.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, but so yeah, let's talk about this. I mean, it's the only way I can see this match is a great result for Borough. And that's a point.
Fantastic!
Yeah, that's another point earned away from home and against a big team. But seriously, it's a costly dropping of points for Man City.
Yeah, I know, and I'm delighted about it. To be honest with you,
I'm sure you are. Yeah.
Anybody's expecting any sympathy, I'd hope you fucking hold your breath. But yeah, I have to admit, like. Borough played really, really well. I don't know what Manchester City were probably still hungover from smoking Barcelona.
Yeah, they don't like bringing that up. Actually, how they beat the best team in the world. You know?
Yeah, I mean, the funny thing is that from the side that whipped Barcelona, like he only made about 3 changes, and one of them was the goalkeeper. And he put in Otamendi for Kolarov, which I actually think is an upgrade because Kolarov I think is a far better defender than Otamendi.
Ooh, shots fired, Neil.
Ooh. And Navas for Sterling, which is obviously worse, which is what makes it not.
It's balance, isn't it?
There's a balance there.
Yeah.
But ridiculous though. Kolarov was actually played at centre back when he's left back by trade, but he's actually, I think he's a solid enough defender to. And I don't really get that whole specialist left, right, central thing. He's a defender, fucking sticking back there, you know.
Yeah. I will say I have quite liked Kolarov at centre back. I didn't think it would suit him because he's not really an aerial presence. But whatever works. Like, he's a tough motherfucker. It doesn't matter which position you are in. You're gonna have a hard time when you're facing Kolarov.
That's the thing as well, and like a lot more teams now are trying to play shit straight through the centre and just bypassing the backs.
Yeah.
You'll see a lot of wingers now, they'll just cut right in, or wing backs who are designed just basically to cut in and just sling in a short cross.
Yeah.
Which is what Burrow did for their goal. The cross was brilliant.
I will say I think it was I can't remember who the cross was. I think it was a Stuani or was it Downing? I can't quite recall. Oh no, great. No, it wasn't the Grado. What am I talking about? The shot was meant. The cross was meant from the Grado, and Darun got to he was on the man after him. But I have to see now who the cross was for because it was a sweet ass cross.
It was fantastic.
Yeah,
but actually the working up, the manoeuvring around the pitch for the cross, and then the header was fantastic as well.
Yeah. I think that was the gas thing about City is because they were so. They were so intent on trying to win the game in the first half, and they just didn't seem to continue it on throughout the second half. Like, Borough had so much opportunities then to counter them. I think even I think it was either Downing or Forshaw had a good chance against Bravo. And then the Grado had that fucking Charlie Adam attempt from the fucking halfway line that almost beat Bravo, which again. I don't blame him because Bravo is such an awful player. Really, I really
He's
don't.
quite bad.
Yeah. Here we go. It was Friend, George Friend,
football friend.
Yeah, football friend indeed. That's who got the cross in. I had to double check because that was annoying me. But yeah, I think it's fair to say well done Borough because they've only got 11 points this season, which is kind of curious because we know how good they could be. But even then, they're still only 1 point away from the relegation zone. And, they did lose. They have lost a lot of games. They're not winning as many games as the likes of Burnley. And even then, Hull have won more games than they have this season. Are Borough still in danger? Can we say that they're going to be okay this season? Because it's hard to say with them, really.
I put money on it. I don't put money on them finishing, anywhere near the middle.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd say they'll be fine, I mean, when you look at this match, I'm like, alright then, they survived a veritable onslaught in the first half.
Yeah.
I mean, City just pretty much kitchen sinked them, and, in all fairness, they only scored through because, De Bruyne's fucking great ball in to carve open that defence for Aguero.
That was such a good ball because there was I remember watching it just earlier on. There was 8 because I could see what Karanka was doing. It was just a back 4 and then front 4. They were all folded in on each other. There was 6 or 7 Borough players in even that area, and everyone just kind of got duped in for that cross. It was so good, so pinpoint as well. I must say
absolutely, and a ball like that to Aguero. Sorry, man, that's in.
Oh yeah. No doubt. Once it's on his fucking right foot, ready to go, it's only going one way.
Yeah, boom. He just does not miss from that range and with that amount of time.
Absolutely.
And it was fantastic. But to be honest with you, City really did switch off. So did De Bruyne in particular. He switched off in the second half. And to be honest with you, it was a classic smash and grab, really.
Yeah, I think.
Great performance. Actually, I have to say one thing. Valdez made a fantastic triple save. Even if it was offside, but
yeah, it's not bad for someone who basically just got their thigh cut open by Jesus Navas.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, there was a nasty injury actually. Did you see it afterwards?
It was horrendous. Yeah, I heard a lot about it. Like, I
Yeah,
didn't really want to look at my Twitter stream because people
fair.
kept tweeting me fucking horrendous fucking horror film pictures. So fuck off.
That's Neil's interpretation of Twitter in general. It's just like some of people
Fuck off.
tweeting me shit and fucking horror movies. Fuck off. Tune in next week when Neil reviews Facebook. Um, and then this is like a mini series of where Neil just goes on social media and hates it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Pretty much.
exactly. I don't have anything much else to say about this match really. Like I said, I think we all kind of agreed on it. Good result for Borough, and to be honest, like the one thing I will say about Borough is I think they finally found their best team. Because there was a lot of rotation in the early stages and they were losing games. Now they've held Arsenal and they've held Man City at their respective home games, and I think the key to that has been just little kind of like risks like Adama Traore and Gaston Ramirez and, as we saw, Martin de Roon. It looks like a good midfield they have now. There's no real cohesion to it, as in it's not like an organised front foot or like organised four like Burnley have. It's more free flowing and it's a bit more like unpredictable. It's hard to say if it'll get them through like all games they have for the season, but at least having guys like those two guys, Gaston and Darun, Adama, having them in the team I think is at least something for Borough. You know, it shows that they have something to prove in the league. Whether they can get the results from it though, that's a different story, but we'll wait.
Yeah, it depends on whether or not those players click. You know?
Exactly. That was it really. Moving on then to the other. I think we called this a Steve Bruce there last week, didn't we? The 1-1 draw. It's like an improvement on the Tony Pulis.
Steve Bruce.
Yeah. So this is the second Steve Bruce of the weekend. West Ham and Stoke, and I don't have much to say about this match, to be honest.
Other than Joe Allen is excellent.
Joe Allen will always be excellent, Neil, and you do good to remember that. All right. Now none of this whole like, oh, Joe Allen had a bad game this week. He never has a bad game, and I will cut you if you say otherwise.
No, I was about to say like Kirkic now, because it's Kirkic that Allen has been keeping out of the team, to be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah.
And so when he was unleashed today, and he's a very smart equaliser for him.
But I will say Bojan, as you said, Bojan Kirkic, I think he was given very much a good service by Adrian, just kind of like losing some sort of like whatever kind of like concentration he has and deciding, oh, I think I'll just go for a late charge outside of my penalty box and leave my goal wide open for the three Stoke players behind me. That sounds like a good idea in theory. It's a pity it didn't work out that way.
Yeah, pretty much, you know. But and even then, like, I think hilarious thing enough, had Kirkic actually missed, I think that actually might have been.
It would have been a penalty because he got wiped out. Yeah.
He wipes out. Well, Adrian wipes out Walters, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think it was Walters. Yeah.
Yeah, because it was. Oh yeah, because I'm looking at now. It was Charlie Adam. His long ball decided to, the West Ham decided all that it wasn't a ball. It was actually a low flying meteor that they all just stand there and fucking take photos of.
Well, it was Charlie Adams, so it was more than likely a battered meteorite.
Absolutely. They're just like, what the fuck is that? Why does it smell like chip fat?
Is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it's a battered sausage from Charlie Adam.
Absolutely. And then Adrian really had no other choice but to kind of come steaming out of his goal because his defence decided, nah, we're not doing that.
Yeah, I noticed he did that once or twice in this game. Like he really just kind of rushed out, and kind of like I would say took the ball away from his defenders, which I don't blame him for, to be honest, because West Ham have kind of conceded 20 goals so far this season. They're not very good at this whole defending thing so far.
Yeah, which is okay if you're good at the whole attacking thing, which they aren't.
No, let's not. They have one good attacker, and that's Mikel Antonio, and he was a fucking right back at the start of the season. So I don't think attacking is their forte right now. Well, in fairness, I mean you can't go wrong with strikers like Simon Zaza and Andy Carroll and Diafra Sacco. You know, that's for a team like West Ham who are in like a sweet ass stadium, that's a hell of a strike force you got there. You know, like you can't.
Yeah, and they're shit.
Yeah, what? Get out of here! You're saying that Andy Carroll is shit? Have you seen his training video? Amazing how he trotted that way. How he trotted into the penalty box and hit a ball with his head. That's world class, Neil. Come on.
Pure world class.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, West Ham aren't really being helped out by the fact that every single one of their good players has decided to, phone it in. I mean, Lanzini was fucking hooked at 60 minutes, And
Pyatt, of course.
Oye as well, yeah. He was hooked at 60 minutes as well, So it's ridiculous,
Yeah, I think Stoke has a bit of this problem as well now because obviously Shaqiri and fitness don't exactly go together very well. But I will say though, I think it's given the young lad Ramadan a really, really good chance on the right wing, and
absolutely, and he's been brilliant.
I think he's really good. Yeah, for someone who's 18, he looks like he's got good pace. He reminds you a lot of Arnautovic, on the left. He has I think he seems like to have a similar build, or at least he can become with a similar build. He has a good mixture of pace and like an eye for getting into the attack and doing a few passes. I think he could combine very, very well with Arnautovic if given the time. Problem is though, he is competing with like the star man Shaqiri for the position. So I say he still will get a few opportunities throughout the season because, like as I said, the fitness is the main problem with Shaqiri. We'll wait and see, but I'm hopeful that he'll pop up every now and then for Stoke because I think he's actually a really good acquisition. When you look at it, Stoke have bought really, really well this summer.
They've been outstanding.
Yeah.
I think again, Alan.
Of course, Welsh Jesus.
The thing is that he was shifted much further back, so we've kind of like a very unique. I think he was like a defensive number 10 in this game.
Yeah.
Allowing Kirkic kind of that free roving, more forward position that he usually occupies. And I actually, be honest with you, it really fucking worked because they needed to bolster up that midfield in case, in the rare occasion that the West Ham midfield click.
Yeah.
And then they'd need that kind of robust presence of Allen further back when West Ham steamed forward. But to be honest with you, they needn't have worried. West Ham are tripe.
Yeah, it's not been a good time for West Ham, and like again, they're tinkering and trying to change things and fix things. It's just not working. Like anything they try and do is just making things worse, and it's just not a good time for West Ham. It really, really isn't, and it's hard to say how they're going to get out of it. Obviously, I don't think they're in relegation danger. There are obviously 3 teams that are worse than West Ham, but it goes without saying. But even still, for what they wanted to achieve this season, this is like a massive fucking wake up call. Just like you cannot just like at the click of your fingers get a new stadium and your team is suddenly one of the best in the world. You need to work at it and stop recruiting. And stop recruiting shite like.
Oh man, and also stop. They're also another team that's not really benefiting from big rotation. I mean, Bilic was playing Kouyaté at right back,
which I don't understand at all.
Yeah, and Creswell was so far forward; he was practically a left winger.
Yeah.
And I understand, I kind of understand that Creswell crosses the ball so fucking well that you don't want him pegging it all the way back to defend. But I don't understand any of it. Like, it was ridiculous.
Yeah, look, it's that kind of. We were giving stink to Alan Pardew earlier in the podcast about how his rotation isn't exactly working out well, and like Bilic is doing the same thing in the sense that he's just putting anyone in any position and hoping that something will click, and there's no logic behind it now. There's no reasoning. It's just basically like put these pegs into as many holes as you can until something works. You're brute forcing the puzzle as opposed to like trying to solve it. And like some managers will try and solve it, and it takes a few games. It takes a bit of time to get there. Stoke City have done it. They've got that balance right in midfield now. Middlesbrough are doing it at the moment with as we mentioned, having the right mixture in midfield as well. It is a gradual process, and you can't just like knee jerk and say, oh, we're still losing. I'll just put this very tall man as a fullback and hope that he can run up and down the field. Yes, I'll just put this defender up front and hope that he doesn't tackle anybody and get sent off. It's just like, there's no reason behind that. You're just looking at like little things that they do rather than the whole of their game. It's just like, oh, I know, I'll put this player up front because he has a nice tattoo of a goal. It's like, what? That's the same kind of logic, That's West Ham in 2016, really.
Yeah, no passion, no drive, no real identity, which is hilarious because those are three things you would never, certainly not last season, those are three things you would never have associated with West Ham.
Yeah, exactly.
And Eddie Gold and Sullivan have done a fucking hell of a job on that team.
I will say, at least they have a nice, lovely stadium that's totally not being destroyed by hooligans.
Totally not.
Definitely not. West Ham fans are lovely, and they will absolutely do nothing to the people that I love that they are holding in custody right now. Moving on. Moving on to an actual exhibition. The first of two public spankings that we are going to be talking about this week. The proverbial dick waving competition from the top two currently in the Premier League, starting off with dick waving number one being Chelsea, as they beat Everton 5-0, and yeah, this is a fucking hell of a game for Chelsea. If you had any like interpretations that Chelsea might not be ready to challenge for the Premier League, you might want to put them to bed now, because I think it's fair to say, Neil, they're ready. I think they can do it.
Yeah, they just absolutely battered Everton.
They really did, yeah.
They were purely ruthless, and it really could have been a lot more than 5-0.
It looked for me like it was going to be like 8-0. Like there was like three opportunities. I think Pedro had one. I think Costa had another one as well that smashed at the post. And Victor Moses as well. He had to hit the post as well. And Christ on a bike. We'll go through the goal scorers just to get the formalities out of the way. Hazard opened the scoring like just pretty much 20 minutes into the first half.
19 minutes in, and then Costa scored, or then Alonso scored 23 seconds later.
Mental, absolutely mental. That's it. That's how crazy it was and how intense Chelsea were. It was like literally Everton from kickoff. Lukaku tried to pass a ball. It went straight to a Chelsea player and another Chelsea player and another Chelsea player and then in. It was completely ridiculous, and just Everton just couldn't deal with the intensity, and how everyone was playing as one. It was so good. It was really, really was. And I think it's probably the best game I've seen Chelsea play in years. It really has.
Oh, it definitely is. I mean, I think a lot of it started that Everton are missing Idrissa Gueye.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was a very calming presence for them in midfield. But the Everton midfield, just Matic and Kante just overwhelmed them.
Well, the main objection I had to Everton in this game was them running with a back three.
That's the thing. Like they've not played with a back three.
I was about to say, every Everton team I've known has always had a back four. I know, things obviously change, but it looked like Coleman tried to run with a 3-5-2 or 3-4. I don't know what the system was. It was a weird system anyway, where basically they tried to pin in Chelsea's wing backs with a wing back of their own, like Coleman and I think it was Lennon. Maybe? I don't know. Really weird system. But point being was they had a whole lot of people flooded in midfield. Like Cleverly and Barry were playing in midfield, which, quite frankly, if you wanted to have the most boring fucking England midfield in history, those are the two players to go for. And then just like they had Funes Mori, I think it was Williams, and then someone else in as your central defence. But the problem with that is if you have wing backs doing that job to try and nullify somebody charging with that, then, maybe try and mark them. That would be a good idea. Problem is, though, the two lads you're trying to mark are Pedro and Moses, who are probably the most slippery wingers in the fucking Premier League. They don't stop.
Moses is practically cybernetic with the rate that guy can run at.
That's what I'm saying. You're already giving your wing backs too much of a hassle to try and chase after them. It was a situation where I wouldn't enjoy being a wing back, like in my position, because you're looking at that in the same way that you're looking at someone like Mane and you're just going, fuck, I have to mark him and keep track of him. I'll be bollocks. Like, I'll just keep fouling him and getting booked and sent off and, you know, cursing his family to the grave. You know, it's just...
and foul Everton did. In fact, fouling was probably the only stat that Everton had better than Chelsea.
Yeah.
They only had 40% of possession. They had one shot off target.
Well, that's something.
That was made in the 65th minute.
Yeah.
They had no shots on target, so Courtois could have actually gone home back to Belgium.
I think Courtois did actually go back to Belgium. I don't think he was involved in this game at all.
No, I don't think he was there. I think they just got like a kind of straw man and just stuck jersey on it.
You wouldn't tell the difference, quite honestly.
Yeah, they had only 2 corners, 1 offside, and they had 16 fouls. Chelsea's 4.
Yeah. Actually, Neil, I have the Everton team now in front of me because I wanted to, again, another question I wanted to ask or answer. It was a 5, I think it was, from what I can see from this, it looked like it was like a 5-4-1, but it was still 3 at the back, right? So try and figure this shit out. Williams, Jagielka, and Funes Mori, right? I think that was the central thing. And then the wing backs would have been Coleman and Oviedo, right? I think that if I'm right, this is what it looks like right now.
World-renowned wing-backs that they are, given that they've never ever played as wing-backs.
No, always full-backs. Then we have Barry and Clever. Barry, it looks like it was like a defensive midfielder. And then it was like 3 up front then, which was Balassi, Barkley, and Cleverley. Right? So Cleverley was in an advanced position. Balassi would have been on the left. I think Cleverley played right. Okay? And then Lukaku then up front. So... If the formation is forming in my mind the way I think it is, right? You have 3 central, like basically blocking the goalkeeper, almost playing like sweepers. Then you have the wing backs, which are then a little bit more advanced on the wide sides. Then you have Barry, which is just kind of sitting on his own as like a little midfield shield. Then you have 3 more in front of him, which are, you know, Balassi, Barkley, and Cleverley, and then Lukaku. Even looking at that formation, there is so much space you can exploit in that. There's like 2 ready-made pockets for any wingers or like number 10s to exploit. No wonder Hazard scored like 2 world-class goals. He had so much space to fucking work with.
And holy shit, my God, was his finish not safe for work.
Oh my, yeah. it was what we would call in the business sploosh worthy, boys and girls.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, it's. It was Hazard at his most Hazard, you know, and it's like if you want to see him at his best when he's just like has the ball, has yards of space, no one going to attack him, that's when Hazard is at his finest, because he will just take on the team, you know, he will just dribble past them. And again, the weirdest trait about Hazard is when he gets into more of a tighter space, he actually plays better. It's such a weird trait of his. Like when he's up against 3 players, he snakes past them faster than he would one person. You know, it's really unusual about him. But yeah, 2 fantastic goals. Seek them out if you can, because it just shows you how good a player he can be. But credit where credit's due. The Conte system is beautiful for Chelsea. It really is, and I think it's the first time that Chelsea have actually applied width to their team. And lo and behold, it's actually working out pretty well, you know? It looks...
Yeah, and it's brilliant how he's revolutionised not just their attack, because they're fucking banging them in for fun. It's revolutionised their defence as well. They've kept 5 clean sheets.
And again, this is a team that has David Luiz in the team.
Who looks really good.
Yeah. Isn't it weird? Isn't it so fucking weird that David Luiz is working in a defence? They're actually playing to his strengths. That's the thing, Chelsea. Not Chelsea. Jose Mourinho. People.
Yeah, I was saying one thing at this match. If anything should occur out of this match, is that Jose should get the sack from Man U.
No, he should stay at United as his punishment.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's almost to a man. This is the team he had. That he essentially ruined. Like
the only 2 changes to that team would have been Alonso and Luiz.
Kante.
Oh, of course, Kante, yeah. How could I forget fucking N'Golo Kante? Jesus. Yeah. Again, that shows you how good the team is.
Everton sure fucking won't be.
No, in a long shot, anyway. But, yeah, I mean, let's talk about Everton then. How exactly can they come back from being, looks like, schooled 5-0 by a much more superior Chelsea side. Again, Everton always have these kind of like thoughts that he could like rub shoulders with the top four, and let's bear in mind, of course, Everton did beat Chelsea quite handsomely last season. The game that's forever known as the Stephen Naismith game, because that was like the one game where he was very good for Everton, and they didn't do much afterwards.
No, they just had him in to bang home a hat trick, and then he fecked off.
To Norwich.
To be honest with you, literally everyone was happy with that scenario. So
yeah, it was a win-win. It was well worth the money.
It was definitely one of the worst performances I've seen from Everton for quite a while.
Yeah.
But it was just so poor. But looking at that starting 11, you kind of get quite concerned. Lukaku's been carrying the team for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
That back five that he's decided to play, looking at that back five, like you just mentioned it there, you take out Coleman and the average age goes to over 30.
Yeah, it's an old team, but Everton have always been an old team in my view.
That's the thing.
They have one or two young players that they milk to fuck, and then the rest are just lads who just are waiting for death in footballing terms.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's like a fucking the Premier League Dignitas clinic.
Well, yeah, either that or West Brom, I think.
Yeah.
It's like a.
But now that's where the souls go to die. That's where the soul goes to die. Yeah.
So you have the body dying at Everton, and then you move on to like the second stage of hell, which is
kind of like the Dark Souls grind of 0-0 fucking matches.
That is quite nasty, actually. Yeah.
But and also they're very, very dependent on Deulofeu and Barkley kicking on, but it's just like it's just not happening.
Two really inconsistent players. Yeah.
Absolutely, and like fucking Streaky just really does not do any of them justice, because my Christ. And a central midfielder, Cleverly and Barkley, is just depressing.
Isn't it? Like, I don't understand why anyone in this day and age would go, you know what, I'm going to give Tom Cleverly a game. Not even...
And you know what, who I'm going to put him alongside?
Gareth Barry. But at least Barry was playing well. Like, Barry has a role. He was a midfield shield. Problem with Barry was he was overloaded. He came up against N'Golo Kante. He came up against... I think it was Oscar. Oscar. Where am I talking about? Oscar. Matic, thank you.
Yeah. Oscar was subbed in afterwards, but it was Matic at the start.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, and he's overloaded with that then, and as we are seeing with Chelsea, a lot of most of the activity is coming in from wide. It's from Moses, it's from Pedro, it's from Hazard, who's like just has free reign to go anywhere he wants. I love the way Chelsea Chelsea are working, because it reminds me so much of what we're doing with Liverpool. But the difference with us is we're playing a narrow, more close combat kind of style, and Chelsea are wider and they're cutting in more, and just there's a lot more individual class involved. Either way, both systems are working, and to be honest, I can't wait for both teams to face each other again, because I wouldn't want to face in a league sense, I would not want to face this Chelsea team now as Liverpool, because we've already beaten them at Stamford Bridge when they didn't have a clue what they were doing. I'm quite happy with that. Take them point and run, lads. Thank you.
Yeah, same here. We cut them apart 3-0 when they were just implementing this system and weren't really sure, how to make it work or what the fuck was happening. Yeah.
We should both consider ourselves very grateful for that.
Yes, we really do.
And woe betide Manchester City, who still have to play them, I think. And United. United played them already.
Yeah.
I was trying to think. Did the Schadenfreude kick in? And yes, it did. They got humbled quite severely. But yeah, just well done, Chelsea. Again, if you want to see a team firing on all cylinders, you watch this Chelsea and Everton game, because from the first minute, Chelsea had a game plan. They knew what they were doing, and just so much there's so much great skill. And even Diego Costa, as much as we despise the man for being a horrific human being, he was playing really well, and this team complements him really, really well also. And again, Hazard has so much free reign as well in this system. He can go anywhere in that kind of like that front three. Pedro and Moses have new leases of life in this Chelsea team when they didn't really have one. Didn't have a right to a Chelsea fucking spot when Mourinho was around, because, as we know, Mourinho hates wingers. Now you see a team that's built on wingers from a Chelsea side, and it's just like, Mourinho has been proven wrong, and rightly so.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, but to be honest with you, I'm like, I've read a lot of articles stating that Coleman didn't exactly do a lot wrong. He just had an off day. But I think
that formation was weird.
Yeah,
that
I was about
really,
to say
really
experimenting with three at the back against this freewheeling Chelsea team at Stamford Bridge is simply just asking for trouble.
Yeah,
it was clearly a case of what you pointed out at the start of him playing to their strengths.
That's what I'm saying.
Him attempting to play to their weaknesses rather than his own strengths and wind up playing right into their strengths. You know?
That's what I'm saying. Unless he was trying to trap them or something. But even then, why would you try and trap players like Eden Hazard and Pedro? Again, the two most cunning players in the league when it comes to dribbling. That's not going to work. As much faith as you have in lads like Williams and Jagielka and Barry to try and do that, they're just too slow. They're not going to be able to keep up with them, and that's what happened, really.
Yeah. At one point, towards the end, John Terry came on. They just trotted out his dead corpse. That was it. They were 5-0 up at that point, and it was like, yeah, he can't do any harm.
Yeah.
Fuck it, give him a run out. I think at one point Lukaku said to Terry, he's like, "Man, I was as effective for you when I was on the pitch for most of the game." Also, I think Theobald started making a campfire in the goal.
Yeah, I think he actually made himself a friend. I think.
Yeah. He
made himself a friend. It was like what was the name of the ball in Castaway? I think it was what was the name of it? Oh, Wilson. That's what it was, wasn't it? The ball that Tom Hanks made a friend out of in Castaway. I think.
Never saw.
No, I fuck it anyway. The reference is lost on you then.
We'll just go with Wilson. Fuck it.
Yeah, Wilson. I'm rewriting history, people. Fuck it. I need to.
What did he do? Cut a face out of the advertising hoarding or something like that.
Yeah, it was just actually Costa, but really well photoshopped, so he looks more grizzled than cavemen. But I think that's a hell of a Photoshop job, incidentally, if you can do that. Can you? How many decades of years can you take off this man's face?
Mm-hmm.
Apparently 17. But right, let's move on then to another London-based team. In fact, two London-based teams, Neil, as it turns out. This is now the North London derby between Arsenal and Spurs, and it turned out to be a Steve Bruce 1-1. Kevin Wimmer own goal in the first half, and then Harry Kane penalty in the second half. Not the best North London derby around, Neil, I think it's fair to say.
No, to be perfectly honest with you, this had 1-1 draw kind of written all over it from it. And I think, to be honest with you, I think the North London derby now it's gotten far much more hype than it's actually worthy of. Both teams, regardless of, one of the most common phrases that's trotted out about this is that form goes out the window when it comes to the North London derby. And it's absolutely true. Both teams, regardless of how they're playing, just so afraid of losing to one another. I don't know, it's so frustrating. This was quite frustrating. This was a Spurs team we should have cut to shreds. And I guarantee you, if they'd been anybody but Spurs, if they'd come out for some weird reason wearing, I don't know, the whole kit, I guarantee you we'd have absolutely fucking levelled them. But no, it's Spurs, and we just, the fucking nerves kick in,
Yeah, I will say that you should if you wanted to watch this match back, it's best to start at the second half or maybe 40 minutes in, because nothing really happened in the first half hour. Arsenal had a good line share of the ball, didn't really do anything with it, and Spurs weren't really harrying them. They were waiting. It was like an awkward first date. They were waiting for someone to make a move. And just it lasted for about half an hour and the soup went cold. It was just
pretty much. There's with one person worrying where they should press on the other.
Yeah, it was like, do you want to play football? No, you play football. I don't know. I insist. Yeah. It was a very nice North London derby, all things considered.
Yeah, but there's physically Arsenal were not at the races. Mentally, they weren't either. And it's just
nice free kick though that ended up in the goal.
Yeah, it was actually.
Yeah, because I think the general consensus was that both teams ended up hating Mark Clattenburg at the end of this game. I don't see how. I think he got both calls right in the end.
Yeah, no, to be honest, yeah, I do. Like,
I think he did. I honestly, I think the goal that led
no,
to
no.
the free kick that led to the Arsenal game.
No, I think he got both of his decisions right, but what decision he didn't get wrong was not booking the living shit out of Victor Wanyama. I mean,
Oh yeah, well, Jesus,
at one point even the fucking commentator was like, "What does Wanyama have to do to get booked?" Like,
yeah, he's like
that was literally actually the line he said. He's like, I think it was somewhere in around the 70th minute or something like that after like Wanyama's 95th foul.
Yeah.
And people were he actually just went, I don't understand how. What does Victor Wanyama have to do to get booked? Like, and even Wenger even said that afterwards. It's like, I know he was lucky to stay on. I was like, lucky to stay on. He didn't even get fucking booked. Like,
yeah, like he. It's a thing that Wanyama has. It's just like he's just barred. I think referees just kind of take credit or take too much of how clumsy he is, rather than saying, no, that's a foul, yellow card. It's like it's the Fellaini principle. Like, can you really book someone for being truly clumsy? Yes, you can.
Yeah,
yellow card.
Like, he did it very well because he booked Wimmer in the third minute when he fucking creamed Coquelin out of it.
Yeah. Again, that's double standards for you, I suppose. And then Wimmer's then on like eggshells then for the whole game and is naturally very nervous.
That's quite right, because his tackle was stupid. Now it wasn't malicious or anything like that, but he was so late to the fucking party. It was ridiculous, and he just creams Coquelin out of it. But it just Wanyama was just allowed to just run all over the place, hacking the shit out of people. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I think the one player now that's kind of sort of we stepped to the fore for Spurs now is Dembele.
Yeah, I do like Dembele. I really do. I think he's a kind of midfield runner that I think a lot of clubs would have as their first player on the sheet. Problem is though, Spurs have so many players that are similar to him. It's hard to make him stand out. But when he is in the team and he is like just if he's the one midfield runner in the team, then everyone like goes, oh, Dembele, he's great. But then when you have Dele Alli beside him, everyone just goes, oh, Dele Alli, you're brilliant, and completely forget about Dembele behind him. That's doing like more of an underrated job, But that's just my kind of view on him. I do like Dembele, and I think a lot of people just kind of were hoping to see more goals out of him, but he does have goals in him. You just play him
he's keeping that midfield ticking over.
Yeah, that's what I say. Like, he's just playing a different role in the midfield. If you wanted him to play as a forward, then play him as a forward, because he scored goals before, mainly for Fulham. Like, it's in his game, So the way I see it, I think a draw was a fair result. I don't think it was the best game in the world. As Neil said, it was very much overhyped. Arsenal were too nervous.
But not even just this game was overhyped. The whole Northumberland derby is massively overhyped, and the pressure's clearly gotten to both teams. They're both terrified of one another. Well, it's funny. It's the opposite. It's the opposite part of like when you get to the Manchester derbies and both teams actually go at each other, they fucking go for it.
Yeah.
Except for but they would normally if Mourinho didn't decide to employ it, or they out back six.
Yeah, but apart from that idea.
But with the Northumberland derby, it's almost both teams almost never just go for it. I mean,
do you think
the last time we went for it was I think about 2 seasons ago when we had them in the League Cup, and we just went for it because we figured, fuck it, if they put us out, we don't want the fucking. It doesn't matter about the League Cup. We don't give a shit, and then we ended up winning 2-1 from 2 stunning goals from of all people Matthew Flamini. Remember that one? The ball looped up about 60 miles into the air, and when it came down, he just absolutely blasted the ball.
I remember that game. I remember the Matthew Flamini game. I think
the Flambulance.
The Flaminance, I think is.
Somebody called them a Flambulance.
Yeah. That's so lame. But. I hear the question I would say is I think are derbies really a thing anymore like nowadays, because you don't really have that kind of like real partisan feel, especially in English football. Even when we look at the Merseyside derby, ever since with all of Hillsborough and how like the whole city's kind of come together, the Merseyside derby isn't really a thing anymore. Like Liverpool and Everton kind of like each other now. It's all gone quite friendly and jovial and stuff. I think like the Manchester derby now has become so much of a money dick waving competition that there's no real local pride in it anymore. Like half the fucking fans from United aren't even from Manchester,
Yeah.
and half the fans from City don't exist. So either way, like it's I think it's I think the actual like the money part of football has diluted the actual idea of a derby. It's more of a branding thing rather than anything else. Like I think
To a degree, I mean, like I like derby games because it G's people up a bit, even if, as you said before, they don't have any historical link to it, but they do get up for it. I mean, like Spurs definitely up their game. I mean, yeah, they're now seven. What's it? 7 straight draws now for them.
6 straight draws, I think. Or I'll tell you.
Oh, there's 7 without a win. Oh no, yeah, no, 7 or 6.
I should tell you now. Actually, they've got 4 draws in a row.
In the league.
In the league, yeah. But I think it's 6 straight draws, like in all competitions. Like because they would have drawn against Bayern. No, actually, they lost against Leverkusen. Sorry,
they lost against.
Yeah.
Yeah, out of their last 7 games, they've drawn 6 of them. And
Yes.
lost 1.
That sounds about right because it would have. Yeah.
So I mean, like that's that on that like even when we were saying on their form against Leverkusen, I watched that Leverkusen game and I was pissing myself laughing. I was like, holy shit! If they play like that, we'll fucking shred them, and we really should have.
Yeah.
And it's just, oh man.
But at the same token, though, this was a game that Spurs needed to win more than Arsenal, in my view, because when you look at it, Spurs are looking to challenge for the championship this year. Like that's what they've been saying. They did get very close last season, although the old chestnut of who finished third in the 2-horse race, Spurs. That's not going to go away anytime soon. But they did have a good challenge last season, and they have all the groundwork to challenge. Problem is now, 5 points away from the top, 3 points away from the top 4, and they've got Manchester United and Everton breathing down their necks. It's not going to be fun for Spurs. They need to start converting all of these draws into actual wins because the teams above them are already doing that. So it's a kind of weird situation. We said it last week where they are getting something from the games. At least they're not losing, but you're still losing a lot of ground on the teams ahead of you who are winning regularly, which is something I think Spurs weren't really accustomed to last season because we had Leicester and chat shit get banged.
Yeah.
The league is actually taking itself really fucking seriously this time, which is, refreshing to see, I think.
It's refreshing after the fucking Benny Hill fiasco of a league that we got last season.
Yeah, it's nice. Catharticism is nice every now and then in football, but normality is quite nice as well.
Absolutely, yeah. No, our palate was cleansed after last season.
Yeah.
I want teams resuming normal operations of absolutely murdering each other this season.
Exactly. Just like there are 4 teams in the league and nobody else. Can we please just have a nice, good fight? A good fair fight.
And to be honest with you, I don't know. I don't have anything more to say about this game other than fucking man, they were just there for the taking and we just didn't.
Well, but you did, like I said, you just didn't do anything. Like there was nothing from this Arsenal team that said, you know what, they're going to go and win this game. Even then when they got the free kick, it was a lovely free kick, but that was it. I don't remember. Nothing really came to mind until you guys went and conceded the penalty. That's when you guys said, oh shit, we're playing a football game against our nearest rivals. Let's fight. Fisticuffs and out. And again, that's because you got poked into it. The game plan was never to grab the game by the throat and attack. Spurs didn't do the same thing either. It was a pretty much a stalemate from the fucking start of the game. So that's the way I'm seeing it anyway. And even then, I think the modern Arsenal Spurs teams are so erudite and fancy. They're fucking mirror images of each other. With Wenger and his aesthetically pleasing football, and then Pochettino with his precocious young talents. you're so similar to each other in a way you just don't realize it. You know, it's just you're just going about your business in a completely different manner, and there's no real. If it was like a gritty Spurs team, then sure, like it was fucking Harry Redknapp going out there having it large with all of his like favourites, then it would be different. But it's not really. It's not the North London derby that you all remember. Shall we say? Yeah. Anyway, moving on from the doom and gloom, let's talk about Hull City now, who actually won a game again this week. They beat Southampton 2-1. And if you want a nice come down from Southampton for beating Inter Milan in the Europa League, then losing away from Hull, I think will do that nicely. I think.
Absolutely, yeah.
And
well, not really, not even as we said in the last game. It was better to say Bournemouth 1, Victor Anichebe 2.
Yeah.
This would be a lot better to say Southampton 1, Robert Snodgrass 2.
How good is Robert Snodgrass? Like, seriously, he's back in the team and already Hull City looks so much happier with a minute. It's remarkable, really. I think he is probably the most important player at Hull. You know, I think...
fucking by a country mile is. I mean, they built the team around him and he seriously upped his game. And like his goal was great, he just lashed it in the inside of the post. And then, 2-3 minutes later, he curls in an absolutely fucking majestic free kick. And that, to be honest with you, Dawson had wanted to have made it a Play-Doh to have missed that one.
Yeah, in fairness, it was it was mostly Snodgrass that won that game, as we said.
Oh yeah, pretty much, yeah. And in all fairness, Southampton should have won this by a country mile. Yeah,
and they started off so well. Like Austin just got it. It was like such an easy penalty to get. 6 minutes in, you were thinking, this is going to be so easy for Southampton, and they just didn't kick on. It's so fitting as well. Like two teams from the south coast of England go up against fucking relegation candidates, and they both lose when they should have won. Like how cruel a fate that is in football, that both teams should have the same kind of like same weekend effectively.
Yeah,
you know, and it's just
to be honest with you, like this could have been funnily enough, this could have been a lot worse for Southampton had the referee decided Tadic's fucking awful late studs up knee high challenge on fucking Ryan Mason. I mean, fucking how Mason got out of that unhurt was unbelievable.
That was a nasty one, alright, yeah.
It was fucking horrific, because like, you know, when you see like a train crash, like a train wreck there from a horrific crash, and you see somebody walk out, you know, with just their hair mussed up. They look like they fell asleep in a hedge, and they're like, the fuck was that? You know, you're looking at him, and like, watch that tackle again, and you're like, how did he just not, like, snap in half?
Yeah, yeah. That's the kind of disillusion you have when you're like me and you watch wrestling for so much that, you know, I've seen this man impale his neck so much. He's just got up. He's okay. I hope.
Yeah.
He's blinking. That's a start. You know?
Yeah, that's always good. Yeah.
Yeah. Gone through 3 tables and some sort of glass and thumbtacks. Oh no, he squeezed the guy's hand. It's okay. He's fine. Yeah, he'll be all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of the same effect. Either way, like I will say we'll bring up one thing actually, and it's regarding to the world's most exciting man, Gareth Southgate, and he was obviously selected a new team for the international break this week, and Jamie Vardy is continually on the team sheet, but Jamie Vardy has only scored two goals this season. Charlie Austin has scored 8. Is it fair to say Charlie Austin should be in the England squad?
I don't understand why not. You know, I mean, to be honest with you, I would understand picking Vardy over Austin if Southgate had the England team geared up for this high press, fast moving, fast break kind of gunslinger kind of game of play, which Austin just can't do. He's not quick enough. He can't do those runs. You know, he can't move like Vardy can. But given that they're not doing that,
quite the opposite, in fact.
I don't understand why somebody who could finish like pretty much any ball, like I think Austin probably second only behind Sturridge with regards to just natural England finishers.
Currently, well, Sturridge and Kane.
Kane, yeah, but Kane's at 70%. I'm not really sure if he's injured. Not yeah, all right then. So Kane, yeah, but Kane will get run down, like
Yeah. Well, there's more to as you said. There's more to Kane's game, as it were. Like he's a complete forward. Austin is very much just like headers and headers and shots. Yeah, poacher. Yeah, exactly. But either way, like even if he's third or fourth billing in the England squad, surely he's ahead of Vardy now when it comes to the pecking order.
Well, on form, yeah, but form, you know, derbies aren't the only place where form goes out the window.
This is true, yeah.
When it comes to picking a national team, like it totally is. It's all just about, oh man, yeah. It's this man, it's this. I mean, yeah, all right. And Vardy hasn't been playing good, and he's not. And there's no evidence that he's going to play any better for England than he is for Leicester.
Yeah,
and he hasn't been playing well for Leicester.
No, that's the thing. Like I said, but like I say, only kind of if you have a problem, if you have a problem with his form and fitness, getting fit and putting him in the England squad is only going to make it worse. Know we'll just magically give these guys more games and they'll certainly feel better. It's like, no, have you realised that he's 30 years old and he's still hungover from last season? Yeah. The blue wicket is not going to dilute itself, sir.
Absolutely. So, but the thing is like I always get really infuriated with Southampton whenever they try and shove Austin out to the wing. Like, no.
I hate that as well. I really do. It's just like, do you know who you're talking to? Charlie Austin is one thing and a winger he is not. It's so annoying.
It's unfortunate with Jay Rodriguez being a shadow of the player he was a few years ago,
Yeah.
I think maybe a loan deal might be actually very good for him.
I think so. To be honest, I would have thought that Burnley would have snagged him, like in place of Bamford. And fucking hell, that would have been a great place for Rodriguez to go. Back to his old haunt, back to a team that's just like so intense and fitness oriented. That would have been brilliant for Rodriguez. Absolutely. And he'd be in the team all the time. That's why I'm so glad that John Flanagan's over there, because Burnley are in a really good spot right now, and Flanagan is in the team. He's fighting Stephen Ward for the right back position, and it's good competition to have, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely. But to be honest with you, there, Southampton's next game is at home against you guys.
Indeed, yes.
So
looking forward to it.
Oh yeah, you fucking if you watch this game, you fucking definitely are.
Well, in in fairness though, we're only looking at this. We only use that match now for scouting. It's just like that Nathan.
Yeah, that that you took with your scout. You're like, no, they're all shit.
I shall take.
This was such a throwback to textbook Southampton kind of game.
Yeah.
Dominate possession, create shitloads of chances,
lose,
score almost none of them.
Yeah.
Ship one or two and then lose with a comeback never looking likely.
Yep, it's a Southampton way, but it's grand. Sure, we'll I think we might sign one player next summer. I think it'd be all right. I think two would be a bit too much now. I think, wouldn't it?
But the worrying thing that Southampton need to stop, shipping 2 goals from 2 or 3 shots.
Yeah.
As well as firing over 10 of their own to get a goal, if you get me,
But it's more of a concentration thing, really, isn't it? It's
exactly.
just yeah.
That's literally, but I was about to chime in there. It's not about ability; it's about mentality.
Yeah, and that's really down to the manager, really. I still can't really get a read on Puel. He's just such a nondescript, gentlemanly Frenchman. He's just like, what are you, Claude? What is your style? What do? You seem like a very nice man. You look a lot like Johnny Giles. That's about it. That's all I know about you.
It's never a good thing.
Johnny Giles is a good player. Was a good player in his day.
He was a good player, yes.
Yeah.
Everything he's done since now has been tried.
Well, okay, that's probably what you're going by.
But to be honest, just what I can't get with Puel is what he sees when he watches his own team. Because I was always wondering, and especially after the Inter game, I was wondering if Fjolberg and Ward-Prowse should be their first choice midfield. I mean, Classy hasn't fired up.
I don't.
He needs to start starting Buffal.
See, Buffal now. I can respect that Buffal is not quite in the first team, because I know fitness is probably a problem with him coming back from an injury. But yeah, I think Classy has probably been. When you really look at it, I think Classy is the one Southampton signing that hasn't really worked out. You know, when you or him and probably that chap Martina, I think, because like Martina only did, yeah, because Martina's only done one thing for Southampton, and that was score like a thunder bastard against you. That was about it. Like
Pretty
he's
much,
not, he wasn't in the Southampton team because he's like has to go up against Cedric, who was like a really nice, really tidy right back, like international right back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to work my brain now. Where the other like horrifically unsuccessful Southampton signings? I think Classy is not horrific. He's just not up to spec. He's not in the team. He doesn't factor in the team. I guess would you qualify as Danny Osvaldo as horrific?
I wouldn't really horrific, but
Just
I don't know.
Just complete other twats. I think might be the best.
I think we'll just go with twat.
Twat. Okay. That's really it. Like nothing else really comes to mind when it comes to signings with Southampton. They usually are really, really good with their transfer markets. You know, they know how to play it really well.
And another, but I think that's in contrast to their opponents, who really, really would love a few more days in the transfer market. Poor Keane as well, like fucking doing his knee in just by jumping.
Oh yeah, it was him and like Abel Hernandez got he pulled up as well, didn't he? His hamstring.
Yeah. Hernandez pulled up, but Keane literally, there was no contact with the Southampton player. He just fell awkwardly, and he looked quite upset going off.
Yeah, I can imagine. Like that was like his first game in the team, I think, or like first or second team.
Although to be honest, it proved slightly fortuitous because like when Keane went off, Snodgrass came on.
Well, swings and roundabouts, I suppose. You know,
pretty much. I mean, like fucking silver linings, and then Snodgrass decided to just twist Ryan Bertrand's blood inside out.
That's a thought, that is.
Yeah, to be honest, are England and Scotland playing each other?
They are indeed, yeah.
Yeah,
which is probably going to happen again. Yeah.
I was about to say Bertrand will not want to see Snodgrass again, and unfortunately, it turns out he's going to next week.
Yeah.
And if Bertrand, he's got limitations. He's a very, very good player. I do quite like him as a player.
Yeah.
But he's got limitations, and Snodgrass either accidentally exposed them or he knew them and just ruthlessly exploited them.
Yeah.
Either way, I mean, it was fucking textbook finishing from Snodgrass, and that free kick was just mwah.
Yeah, like I said, I think once Snodgrass is like proper 100% fit, like I think he is the one shining light for Hull, and when Hull still get relegated, he's gonna get himself a nice, sweet like job at like a really good Premier League team. Like I can see him fitting in at Stoke. To be honest,
is he even that old?
Mid-20s, I think.
Fucking hell, that's
brilliant. He's been around a while, but you see, I think he kind of was around at like Leeds and Norwich, those kind of teams. But no, he's a well built player. Like he's quite a complete player in a sense. It was just the fact that he's coming off two like really long term injuries. You know, that's really kind of the only thing that was holding him back.
Yeah, very much.
Okay then, so let's move on then to the other dick waving competition of the weekend, and that was Liverpool 6, Watford 1, and
I do believe there was only one dick on display there, and it was constantly being pounded into Watford.
Yes, it was quite, and this dick very much had a lot of teeth as well. That was just like clumping and smiling at every venture. We'll go through the goals first of all. A lot of it in the actually, come to think of it, it was all split between the two halves. It was 3-0 at half time, thanks to goals from Mane, Coutinho and Emre Can, the man with the nicest hair in the world. And then in the second half, then Firmino, Mane and Wijnaldum were the goal scorers for Liverpool, and Daryl Janmaat squeezed in with one, just to kick us in the balls and not have another clean sheet. That was
a very good goal though.
It was a great goal, and to be honest, I'm disappointed in Henderson. It was like the one mistake Henderson made all game was that he showed goal side to Janmaat. That was the one thing he did wrong in the whole game, and it was just
fucking rolled out that red carpet.
Oh, he did,
too polite, you know that.
Well, you know, Henderson's a very polite chap. Like you see, he'd make you a cup of tea. You know, that's the thing with him.
At that point, he was making tea. He was 5-0 at that point.
This is true. But yeah, like the whole mandate for this was anything Chelsea can do, we can do better. Like even from the outset, that was what they wanted to do. It was the intensity, how organised the attack was. And Watford, in a sense, didn't really do anything wrong. They just couldn't step up, they just couldn't handle everyone charging at them with one go, And it was just an exhibition. It was really so good to see.
It really was. Watford they didn't cover themselves in too much glory, but then again, I don't really see a lot of what they could have done,
Yeah, and I think the one mistake they did make though was going back to the back four. I think that was the one thing that they did do wrong, because for the last few games they were doing really successfully with the 3-5-2. I don't know why they went back to the back four.
I think it might have something to do, and this is pure speculation on my part, and I'm more than entitled to being wrong, but I think it might have been how they shored it up in the second half in our game, when in the first half we were 3-0 up against them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they just saw this kind of swashbuckling, free-scoring Liverpool side and went, well, fuck it. Because when they played 3 at the back with us, we played our Sanchez strikerless formation and basically just turned them inside out, because they kept tracking Sanchez. And so when they tracked Sanchez, that meant they had only 2 at the back alongside all of our midfield runners. And we're like, okay, then I'll have this space, let's go for it,
Yeah,
that's why you had Ozil running in for fucking bullet headers and everything like that.
That actually makes sense now, because with having the back three then means that our front three have no opposition then when it comes to running. Yeah.
And what the thing is that our goal fest stopped when we simultaneously took our foot off the gas, and also when they switched to a flat back four and told him, look, if Sanchez runs to the left, don't everybody fucking follow him. I don't care if he has the ball. Just fucking leave him out there,
but don't mind him. Okay, he's having a little run about.
That's deliberately. See the way when he goes over there, all those other guys in front of you, they run into the space you were meant to be, and that's not where we want them.
Yes, it's called a trap.
Exactly, and I think that's they went out with that mentality sort of right off the bat against you guys.
Yeah,
and it just didn't work. They didn't play it with as half as much intensity as they played it against us.
Yeah,
and just.
But that was the funniest thing. The goal scoring didn't really start until the half hour. The first 20 minutes were really good from Watford. They did step up in the sense that they were closing down our midfield. They were pressing better than us in the first 15-20 minutes. The problem was though, and I will say about Liverpool, we did take a few minutes to start warming into it. It did take us a while to start getting that energy going. Quite a lot longer than I was expecting, to be honest. But I guess you do have to warm into that sort of thing. And Watford just could not deal with the intensity. As much as they were trying to move the pace of the game, Liverpool were matching that and then superseding it. That's what then led to all the chances on goal. There was there was a slight possibility that Lucas Leiva could have scored against Watford, and I think that would have that would have stopped everything. The game would have been an automatic win for Liverpool if Lucas scored.
That would have been a golden goal. He would have scored against Watford whilst operating as a centre back.
Yeah, exactly.
Not even him scoring from midfield. You're like, all right then, in the type of midfield that Liverpool now deploy, all right then, fine. But no, he wasn't even in that fucking midfield. He was at the black three. He was behind all of those guys.
Yes.
And he still nearly fucking scored.
That would have been just like it. The referee just would have called it 3 points, 3-0. Yeah.
No, sorry lads. And I don't even think Watford would have complained.
No, I think they would have just said, do you know what? That was a fair go. Shake hands and just leave.
Yeah.
We only have ourselves to blame, quite honestly.
Yeah.
It's just but yeah, the goals were just kind of what you'd expect from Liverpool in a sense. I guess unless the first one, I suppose, was a bullet header from Mane, just peeled off from the first defender. It's just straight in, no nonsense. The Coutinho goal though was the most Coutinho goal I could ever think of. It was just drifted into position, nutmegs Kabul while scoring the goal, and somehow inexplicably injured the goalkeeper in the process. I don't know how he did it. Must have been the way he fell with his old man knees, but I felt bad for him, to be honest. I felt really, really bad for Gomez with the injury.
Yeah. Oh no, I really did. Like he was on stretches by half time. Yeah.
Yeah, it was nasty. And then just like Pantilimon just go the look of fear on Pantilimon's face as well, going up against this Liverpool team. Because bear in mind, we would have scored 2 goals in 3 minutes at this stage. Like we were smelling blood, and then Pantilimon's just going, "Fuck," I have to go up against and face this really dangerous Liverpool team, and that's what it felt like. It's just like this team is now out to get goals because they know the goals are there. Just sheerly the confidence and the bravado. It's just like the team just feels like it can go out and beat anybody. And granted, the home and Anfield doesn't really have to do much in a sense. You don't have to keep shouting and cheering all the time. You know, there is a trust in that Liverpool can win those games, and that kind of reflects on them as well. At least that's the way I'm kind of interpreting it. Because the Anfield isn't as loud as it used to be. It doesn't need to be nowadays, quite frankly, because the football is doing the trick for you.
Yeah, pretty much. I know. No, but can't really. There's not really a whole lot to say about this game other than fucking hell.
Yeah.
That's a great start in 11, plus quite a good bit of depth off the bench as well. And a word on the substitutes, I think, as well. Please for Ronaldo, who still looks like one of the finest young players, fucking certainly in the Premier League and definitely high up on the list in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
Sturridge is still top, and like his link-up play was great, and he was very unlucky not to score.
I think Sturridge did deserve a goal for all of that. I think he did the right thing. Past Wijnaldum
was determined, however, to deny him.
Yeah, the cheek of him. And then we had our little fella Ejaria then come in as well.
Right, young talent for the future.
I like Ejaria.
He fucking doesn't he?
Huh?
Really fucking loves him. You were saying it earlier on.
The thing about Klopp is he has identified the players that he loves, right? There's a few of them. There's Kev Stewart, right, which is just basically he is basically the player that like Klopp wheels out if he wants to protect the result. It's just like, okay, we're winning 2-0 away from home. Kev, whoop, just get in on there and just like get in there, foul a lot of people. All right, love you, and just like give him hugs and kisses before he gets onto the pitch. And then I think the other player that he really, really likes is Trent Alexander-Arnold, which is a brilliant name. Like that, like you have some great names in your team. That's one of our better ones, Alexander-Arnold. Like that's so powerful, such a powerful name. Yeah. The AA, exactly. And much like the battery, he actually has quite a lot of energy, and he's a right back as well, which he wasn't necessarily right back, but he's changed that as well. But he's featured in the cup as well, signed a new deal with the club, and Klopp is a huge admirer of him. But I think the pick of the crop right now has been Ejaria, because he's a central midfield, and he's again like that kind of like real midfield dynamo that Klopp will just fall in love with. Has the work rate, looks like a really decent talent as well, and did try to get involved in the attack, but he's 16, 17, bit too much.
Wasn't given a lot of time as well. Either.
Oh yeah. Of course, it's just a walk. It was just a fucking walkout, really. In fairness, it was just a little tap about with the lads more so than anything else. But again, some good prospects for the future there, and then of course we have Woodburn as well. I think he's doing good work in the youth leagues as well. So there are players that Klopp fancies in a sense, and I think we'll see more of them as the season goes on, because we're probably hopefully going to get situations like this where we have comfortable leads, and then Klopp will just go, okay, everyone chill out, and we'll let some of the kids play as well. Of course, we still have the League Cup and FA Cup as well, so plenty of opportunities for that squad depth to actually get some game time. Like it was just a good result for us, and we're now top of the league, which is a weird feeling. Yeah, it's actually starting to feel a bit like Brendan Rodgers again, to be honest, and I don't know if that's a good feeling or not, because I know which way it ends.
I know. Oh well, at least you'll have the entire interlude to look at yourselves on the top of the table.
Well, yeah, that in fairness now, I'm just going to screen cap that, get it done with my wallpaper, and do the whole front room in it, because it's not going to get any better than that. I'm actually going to try and get something going to say, like, you know what, let's just end the Premier League here, shall we? Like, 1 point away from Chelsea. Yeah, we can. I think we can accept that. I think that's mutually beneficial for everybody.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure Chelsea can live with that as well. It's a good recovery. Champions League football. You'll be all right. Just sweep it. Just everyone's happy enough with that. Yeah, be grand. Let's move on then. We move on to the last 2 games of our weekend feature here. Then move on to the Swansea Manchester United game, where Swansea very much just let United in and dropped their trousers and very much just had away with them. Quite frankly,
we don't have to talk about this, do we?
We're not under any contract to talk about this.
Oh no, man! Seriously, this one I've never seen any fucking team play worse than Swansea did. It was fucking crippling.
Yeah.
Oh, it was so fucking bad.
Well, let's get the formalities out of the way then. Goal scoring wise, if you want to go for like a piss break while I do this, I don't mind. Like I could chat away about this match and then kind of click my fingers. You'd be edited back to talk about the next game. I can do that if you want to. There's no problem with that.
No, come on, let's just fucking.
Anyway, the 3 goals were scored by Pogba, the 15 minutes, which is a lovely, I will say, really nice goal from Pogba on the half volley.
I will say one thing. It was a very, very good strike, half volley, top letterbox, the top right hand corner, wasn't it?
Yeah, really, really good. It was like
perfect enough for this. Such was the lack of pressing from Swansea. He could have taken the ball down, walked off the pitch, stuck the kettle on, made himself a nice cup of tea or coffee, whatever you're supposing.
Yeah.
Had a nice bicky or two. Sauntered straight back on, and then just gone right, juggled the ball for a bit, and then thumped it back in. And he still would have had about 4 or 5 yards of space.
If anything, I will say about Swansea, it was a really bad time to do the mannequin challenge. Like that was really bad. During a football game and all. Like
mannequins at least get in the fucking way.
Yeah, that's true. They actually are an obstacle in some sense.
At one point, they were actively running away from the ball. Like, what the fuck is that like?
Oh my god, that was bad. All right. And then, obviously, the other 2 United goals then were scored by Zlatan, which means now he's finally finished his goal drought, which means he's back. Zlatan is back, and Pogba is back, and Rooney is back. Yeah. Everyone is back because he played against a team that has no fucking clue what they're doing with their lives.
Absolutely, yeah. So might as well just hand them the fucking league trophy right now.
Yeah, actually, that's it. Yeah.
Well, even though they're not in it, fuck it.
Well, in fairness, Swansea did get a goal back. They walked into the goal thanks to Mr. Van der Horn.
To be honest with you, I think actually they lulled United into a false sense of security.
Some sort of like, it's not a good thing really when you're just like
the United backline kind of slipped into an narcoleptic coma, and as soon as Van der Horn fucking headed in, it was like, what?
Stop it! Quit it! We like our clean sheets.
Yeah.
We won't get. If we get a clean sheet, then Mr. Mourinho says he won't throw us under his bus. Fucking hell. We'll get to that cunt in a minute, but first of all, we'll talk about Bob Bradley and how inept he is. Yeah, let's talk about how inept he is. Do you see any tactics from Swansea? Or do you see any information from Swansea? I have no idea. I can't see anything. I can't even tell you right now what formation Bob Bradley uses, and I can't even tell you what even his style of play is.
Yeah, I have no idea. I mean,
I have no clue either. There's just like no setup, no logic. There's nothing in that team.
You know that shrugging, smiling face emoji that makes its way around. So that's pretty much what you could sum up Swansea as.
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty.
I don't know. You know,
it's Okay, I don't know. I don't know.
I'm seriously, I am desperately fucking.
We're actually
so jaded. They looked so bad today.
Yeah.
I think what was like fucking 35 minutes before one of them even put in a decent tackle. Like not even get a corner or a shot, just to put in a tackle. I was reading a live blog, before watching the match, and he was actually mentioning when Swansea players put in tackles, because that's literally the only thing he had to talk about.
Yeah.
From a Swansea point of view now. You know, United was, he has this, he has his ball, he has that ball, he has that ball, and literally, like, the Swansea players are just standing there. You know that you remember that Simpsons piss take of football when they play the soccer in the stadium and it's the commentator fucking as they knock into the same 4 players over and over again.
That's right, yeah, I remember that.
It was essentially that.
Yeah.
You know? I think Swansea I think they're going to come up to the realisation that they probably made a bit of a mistake firing Guidolin.
A little bit.
A little bit. He was doing well against strong oppositions during the tough run of games. Remember that tough run of games Swansea had?
Mm-hmm.
And even when he did lose, he was losing by small margins. And I think he would have done a lot better had he been allowed to say, at the very least, he had a plan. He had some kind of vision. He knew what the fuck he was. Well, not that Bob Bradley doesn't know what he's doing. He just doesn't know what he's doing with this Swansea team. They've already, I mean, we've hammered this point home about 1 million times, and I figure between now and the end of the season, we'll hammer it home another 1 million more. But selling Ashley Williams was just the biggest mistake they could have ever made.
Completely, yes. Yeah.
They also should have fought to get either Joe Allen or Boney back.
Well, yeah, just sign somebody. I
know they could have got one of them off Stoke.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Like Joe Allen probably had first shout at Swansea, and like Stoke just went in and said, we're actually a team that have an idea. Get the fuck with us, like. Just Swansea just looks stranded. That's what they look like. It looks like the team just doesn't have, as we said, any identity. It looks like the quality of football since Gary Monk left. Or no, even before, shall we say after Michael Laudrup left, the quality of football has dropped immensely at Swansea, because with Swansea we were always saying the same thing. It was always like this kind of like denizen of like possession oriented football, because like Rodgers, like Martinez had it, like Rodgers had it, then it was Laudrup, and then Gary Monk. Gunnick had a little bit of that as well, and he did okay at it, but eventually the quality was slipping as much as the confidence started to drop in the team. And then Guidolin just said, I don't care about possession, let's win games, which, he's an Italian manager, that's kind of what he does. And now you have this fella Bob Bradley, who quite frankly looks more accustomed to hosting the fucking Crystal Maze rather than actually managing a soccer team.
Absolutely,
and it still pisses me off that he calls it soccer instead of football. It's like, you're employed in England. Get the terminology right, pal.
I'm half expecting him now to guarantee it by the end of the season. He's going to be calling his team like the new Swansea Patriots or something like that.
What was that fucking NBC parody they did years ago? It was Coach Lasso. That's what Bob Bradley is. He's Coach Lasso.
But no, I reckon Swansea are down. I mean, Bradley's appointment's got to be one of the stupidest I can remember. I mean, bad enough sacking somebody with 20 years experience in the Italian top flight, but you then go and replace him with somebody whose club career highlight was in Norway.
Yeah, and his last position was in the French second division with Le Havre.
Le Havre, yeah. To be honest with you now, I was quite surprised they didn't throw all their monies at Chris Coleman.
I'm more than willing to believe that Chris Coleman was their first candidate, but again, American owners, American manager, it's hard to say if that had some sort of like influence on it, but I want to hope that it didn't.
Maybe I don't know. I'm like Coleman. I think Coleman's taken the Wales team as far as he can, really.
Yeah, it would be, but.
No, I don't know. I think the only reason he hasn't gone is because I don't think they've got any idea of who they would get in to replace him.
And in fairness, like Coleman has no obligation to go elsewhere. I'm
just simply punting ideas.
Yeah.
Who else they could have really gone for other than Bob Bradley?
Steve Bruce. Bruce was like around, Okay,
yeah.
maybe
is that a dig at the way he's around? And he was there.
And he's in. No, again, how many other candidates can you find? Like, if you wanted a fucking MLS coach, I'm sure there's one or two around. You could have gone for like fucking Bruce Arena, who was like the LA manager. You go for Jurgen Klinsmann, if you really wanted to drive home the American part of it. But truthfully, like, this fella was like, the things I know about him was he managed Toronto once, and he's, like I said, drifted around just all different leagues, and just the quality, he just doesn't seem to be a good manager. You know, he might get there eventually. He might win a few games, but truthfully, the team is 90th in the league. They're 6 points away from safety, and I don't see them beating teams like Middlesbrough, Crystal Palace, and Bournemouth. Those are the teams they have to beat. And likewise, they have to beat the likes of Hull and Sunderland. I don't see them doing that either. Which is so weird, considering they still have really great players like fucking Sigurdsson and Montero and all these other lads. They're good. Fantastic. And Neil Taylor, there's good players in that team, but the quality of football is so bad, and you can't just rely on Sigurdsson all the time to get you out of trouble. It's not going to work, you know. Like
it's not going to work all the time anyway.
Absolutely not. Like the primary reason for me Guidolin got sacked was because he started taking the piss with Sigurdsson. Like, he was on the bench one week, he wasn't starting the other week, he said he wasn't fit the other week, and then just kind of lost confidence to the players. Bob Bradley is a different story in the sense that I don't think he understands what good players are.
Yeah.
You know, like, he doesn't understand, like, Sigurdsson is his star player. He needs to build a team around him. Because, as we said, in the Arsenal game, he was playing Sigurdsson as a striker. Is it good for Sigurdsson as striker? No. He's a number 10, and he's much more effective as number 10. But tell that to Bob Bradley, who apparently can play anybody in any position. So I look forward to seeing Leon Britton as Swansea goalkeeper after the international break. You know, because that's what that's what it feels like right now for Swansea.
That wouldn't surprise me even that too much. That wouldn't even surprise me too much. I'm like, relegation is an absolute certainty, I think, at this point. I'm like, they're being run by amateurs who have appointed amateurs who are running the team in a very amateur way. Yeah. It's pretty sad to see.
That's exactly what's happening. Anyway, let's enough about Swansea. We'll talk a bit about United then. And the one thing I do want to just point out about United, again, I don't want United fans to get carried away with themselves about how easy this match was. It was a very easy match for United to win.
Purely because anybody could have won this.
Anyone could have won it, yeah.
I've seen club teams would have won this.
Of course. But the one thing I do want to bring across, and that is the inclusion of Michael Carrick. And the reason... Don't do that.
No. I was agreeing with you.
I know. I'm joking. I'm so used to you sighing every time I say Michael Carrick. It's just kind of gone automatic for me. But the thing is, like, the fascinating stat about Michael Carrick this season is that in every game Michael Carrick has played or has started for Manchester United in 2016, they have won. 6 out of 6, 100%. And whenever Carrick is out of the team, not factored in, like, the United team is struggling, you know. And you look at it and think it's kind of intuitive in a way when you do have players like, you know, Mata, Ander Herrera, Pogba, Rooney, Mkhitaryan, all these creative geniuses and players that are supposed to be like really attractive and sexy. Then why is it that Michael Carrick, 36-year-old Michael Carrick, old man Carrick, how is he bringing stability to the team? And these are questions that Jose Mourinho hates to answer and hates to like be even proposed with. Because he hates Michael Carrick and he hates fucking Bastian Schweinsteiger. He hates all these players that are just like so old and so intelligent that he basically undermines his whole belief on what football is. And his idea of football is pawns on a fucking chessboard. You know. And again he will happily throw people under his bus, which we were alluding to earlier. He just basically called out Chris Smalling and Luke Shaw for not wanting to play football. You know, how dare they indeed for being injured, you know? Like, the cheek of them to have a little bit of a knock, you know?
Yeah. Flags off Smalling and Shaw as girly cowards because they couldn't play through an injury. Chairman manager. Yeah. This is the guy who they want to motivate players to run through brick walls from.
No, this is the fucking arsehole that couldn't play himself because he was too shit. He got a playing position at a team his dad was managing, and was too bad at football to get into the fucking team. So he ended up being a translator and got in that way. Like, I wouldn't fucking believe anything the man says. He's a fucking charlatan. Point being, though, when you look then, the proof is in the pudding, though. When you have Michael Carrick in the United team, he is a fulcrum. Okay, it's
They
a
look
simple.
far more composed.
Absolutely, because he's doing a job that Fellaini doesn't have to do. He's doing a job that Pogba doesn't have to do. He's doing a job that Ander Herrera doesn't need to do. All these
And he's
players
doing a job that Schneiderlin can't do.
exactly. He is just it's a simple, straightforward, accurate pass from this guy to this guy to this guy to this guy to this guy. It's so simple. It's so straightforward, and the fact that the person who is in charge of this team, who sees these players on the training pitch every single day, he can't get that, and he refuses to see that, is the most irritating part. Like, if Michael Carrick were to stay into the United team, and he can, I'd say Carrick can stay in that team because it's not a high intensity team. You know, it's quite a slow paced system United play. He can absolutely be in that team every week, and quite frankly, he should. He should be on the starting 11 because then United will actually make some fucking progress.
Field him in the league and then field Schneiderlin in the Europa.
Yeah, that works out just a treat. Or even, I don't know, maybe Bastian fucking Schweinsteiger. You know, that might be an idea.
We don't mention this VAR.
We don't mention the VAR. We don't mention how Jose Mourinho called a multi-time Champions League winner, German Bundesliga winner, and World Cup winner, saying that he is not ready for the Premier League.
Yeah,
fucking wow. That is so disrespectful. It really is. It's disgusting. It really, really is.
Oh, well.
No other manager would get away with that either. Like, Guidlin would have got sacked immediately by saying that Gylfi Sigurdsson, hero from the Euro 2016, he's not ready for the Premier League. He's not good enough. Would have got the sack. You know, he's a horrible human being. He really is. But either way,
anyway, the only other thing to kind of really mention from this match is that Zlatan picked up his 5th yellow card of the season and will be banned for the Arsenal game.
Well, that's something, isn't it? It means that
it
means that they're going to play someone like Rashford or Martial, and they're going to be like pacey and dangerous.
Yeah, I know, they're going to be far more mobile.
They might actually improve. Is the real worry here. I actually want, for the record, I don't want Mourinho sacked at United. I actually want him to stay at the club so that he keeps dragging them down. The
Schadenfreude factor. Off the chart,
absolutely, yeah. Like that, I want that to continue. Like, can we keep it continuing? Can you get like a Steve McLaren contract? Like, just be there for 8 years, and the severance is too high. They can't get rid of him. That'd be nice. I like that. Can we do it? Can we arrange that maybe?
No.
I'm sure we have that power. Right, move on then to our final game, which is, I suppose, the saddest one of all, really. Leicester City versus West Brom, and West Brom beat Leicester 2-1.
Much to the chagrin of their manager.
Yes, indeed. To be honest, I think Pulis was so angry it wasn't an all draw. Like, he was probably shouting at his team for winning. You know, he strikes me as that kind of person. But everything happened in the second half. The first half we're not going to talk about because it was just sad. James Morrison opened the goal scoring for West Brom in the 52nd minute. Islam Slimani equalised 3 minutes later. But ultimately, it was Matty Phillips that would win the game for West Brom with a really great individual run, chipped over Zieler, and the collective exhale from the Leicester crowd really really reinforces this season for Leicester. It's just like a collective sigh. You know, they know that they're lacking in areas. Didn't get addressed in the summer. And I'm sure it'll get addressed in January, obviously, because Leicester, want to try and defend their fucking title. And of course they have the Champions League to worry about now that they're effectively qualified. It's just it's obvious where they're lacking. We've said it every single week. It's not a shock anymore. If they're gonna be doing this 4-4-2 thing, then get yourself another N'Golo Kante. Otherwise, fall back to a 4-5-1. That's the way I see it. Or go to something more drastic like a 4-3-3.
You should have gone all in for Idrissa Gueye and not allowed him to go to Emerson.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, they should have probably gone for that, in fairness. But I don't know who else out there could have done the same job as Kante. It's hard to pinpoint somebody who was effectively doing two jobs at once for Leicester, Because by honest, you're just basically buying two players to replace him.
Yeah.
It's hard to say. And even then the I think the formation, the 4-4-2, is too rigid now for those players. Like I feel like Mahrez is getting very like reined in. At least I saw. That's what I felt like in the match against West Brom. Like every time he was on the ball, he was on it too much, too long rather, and then was just pinched out of it. He wasn't getting any support. Obviously, it was working well because they had that guy in central midfield, but now, unfortunately, I think Ranieri does have to change things over now to accommodate. I think either a 4-3-3 or a 4-5-1. Just don't have that 4-man midfield because it's just not working out anymore. You don't have the energy that you had last season. So you have to compensate for that by changing things around. And unfortunately, he's not, and he's paying for it, particularly in the Premier League.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, not really much more to say, but I will say one thing is like, if West Brom can keep a hold of Solomon Rondon past the end of the season, I'll be fucking amazed.
I will say, I think Rondon has done much better than he did this season than he did last season. Like, he's vastly
much
improved.
Better.
Vastly improved.
He's just getting into it now. I mean, he totally dominated both Huth and Morgan. Not just being quicker than them, which isn't that difficult, but being more being more skillful than them, which isn't that difficult either.
Also, yes.
Being a lot stronger than either of them is quite difficult because they are heavily built men.
They are, like, and the thing is with Rondon is he is like the perfect Pulis centre forward. He's exactly what that guy wants as a forward, and he works perfectly as well in the way West Brom set up. Like he is like a match made in heaven, which is so weird considering he's like a well-known fucking Venezuelan international footballer who's plying his craft in the West Midlands. Like, it's so weird, but it's one of those kind of strange convergences in football where there's like South American player that Liverpool were courting once upon a time is now the beacon of West Brom.
Yeah. And he was very lucky not to score, actually. He almost scored in the very second minute when he caught Andy King totally dawdling, like just I don't know. And then Zieler had to make a fantastic save.
Yeah, he made a good. He did make a good few saves, all right, and then he was kind of like a bit lacking for the Phillips goal. I think could have done more to do it. But
I think it was his unfamiliarity with his defense now that was made him a little hesitant, and he came twice. He came close to being caught by Rondon again.
Yeah.
There's just it's really the opposite side of the coin with Leicester this season. Now they've been quite frankly awful. I think West Brom are now the only team. The last team to win at the King Power was us last season.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, I think
first team in 13 months.
Yeah, and that's kind of how it's gone for Leicester. Again, it's so weird seeing how bad the domestic form is when they're doing fine in the Champions League. Like, I know they're probably the whole kind of like grandeur of it is kind of pushing them over the line a little bit. And in fairness, very easy group as well.
Their last Champions League game was against FC fucking Copenhagen.
Yeah, and even then that was a draw. They were just happy to leave that goalless. But they're not getting the same. They're missing the individual performances. Like, Mahrez hasn't been the same this season. Vardy has most definitely not been the same this season. Like, he needs to start competing with the players around him. Like, he's competing with well-known like internationals like Musa and Slimani, and Musa is being played out of position. Like, he's being played in right midfield, which I just find weird, honestly. And then obviously you have Okazaki as well. He's not responding to the competition as much as I would have expected, Yeah,
I was about to say that. He gets hooked for Okazaki quite a lot now.
Yeah. And I think that's purely because Okazaki has a bit more in the tank now. That's the way I see it. Vardy, I think, is going to change from being like the actual, sitting on the shoulder kind of player to just go in and score goals. Like, he'll actually become a poacher that's the likes of Austin and Kane we were talking about. The pace is going to go away, but it's going to be utilised a bit better. Like, it's going to be shorter bursts, a bit closer to the goal. It can still be useful, but he's not going to be the chat shit get banged we had last season. And I think Ranieri has to realise that.
Yeah, I think he knows what's needed, but he just can't rein in the team.
Yeah.
That hustle is totally gone.
Yeah, well, at least in the Premiership it is, or again, a lot of teams just have Leicester sussed out now. It can be very easy to break down what is now a very fragile formation, because you don't have that support or that strength you had in the central midfield. Because with a 4-4-2, that's your basis, that's your fulcrum. You need to have two really strong central midfielders for that to work. You only have one, which is Drinkwater. And then you have a whole lot of supporting crews, which are like the fucking red shirts out of Star Trek. They're not going to do the job for you. They're going to just get eaten up every single time they go on. Like, Andy King is a great squad player, but he's not he's not what you're looking for. Likewise, I think Amartey and Mendy, they're just not up to scratch. There's no replacement for Kante. That's obvious. But you need to then fix that by changing your system, and that's what Claudio hasn't done.
You need to try.
Yeah, it's to say, like, it's all good and well sticking with what you know and what you think can work, but when it's very obvious that there is a problem with your system, then you need to fix it. There's no point. Like, I found it so weird having Ahmed Musa playing on the right flank to left flank of the midfield when you could just play Damari Gray. Likewise. Yeah. You could just have, if you have an embarrassment of riches up front, like Leicester do, like have a choice between Vardy, Slimani, Okazaki and Musa, then fuck it, just play three of them up front. Play Vardy central and play Slimani central and Musa and Vardy behind him, and have three midfielders. There you go. You don't have to worry about your midfield. Just be more direct. Fuck it, just go for it. It's
pretty much.
It can be fixed. I think I think Ranieri actually has to live up to his name and tinker a little bit, because it's that kind of like opposite side we were talking about, how Bilic and Pardew are changing too much at one time. Ranieri is not changing enough, or not changing at all, basically. And yeah, he kind of needs to do it to get back up in the league, because they're 14th at the moment in the league, which is really, really bad for. Not even for just Leicester, for defending champions as well. So it's just not good enough, in a sense.
No, they haven't been nearly good enough.
Yeah. And final word then to West Brom. That's well done. Well done, yeah. Thank you for crushing dreams again. But
they got their core. They got their good core of players like Macaulay, running around and fucking.
I will say one thing about West Brom is they're getting the best out of Matty Phillips. They really are though. He's whatever there is, that kind of freedom he has in the midfield, it suits him perfectly. Like, he starts in midfield, runs towards goal, and gets rewarded. Like, he's exactly the kind of guy that Chadley wants in midfield, because both of them could do the exact same thing, and will terrorise defenders. Like, really, the West Brom team are much improved from last season, and it's all thanks to the players they brought in. And it weren't anything like special, they weren't big hullabaloos like Rondon. It was just Chadley and Phillips, no nonsense. They know what they're doing, and yeah, it's just vast improvement.
Yeah, really is.
Yeah,
long may it improve against Pulis's wishes.
Yes, yeah. Well, let's hope that one day that the improvements will stop and we'll get a string of 0-0 draws at West Brom, because we know that's what Pulis truly wants in life. No excitement, no goals, just clean sheets, good defence, and that's it. No fun. No fun. And the opportunity to assault somebody in the showers. Apart from that, that's all that Pulis wants in life.
Yeah.
Right, well, in that's the case then. That's us done for this podcasting, I think. We've pretty much wrapped up everything. So, unless you have anything final remarks before the international break?
Nope, other than that, I hope it goes by very, very fucking quickly.
Yeah, I think that's what we all hope for with the international breaks. I hope that none of our players get injured. That's what I like. I would like that very much. Every other fucking football association, they try not to play any Liverpool players in that time. Like, you could play Arsenal players. I'm sure they don't mind getting injured every now and then.
Well, Sanchez is already injured.
See, that's what I'm saying. They're already making a good start. Play them. They love getting injured, they do. Us, not so much. It's kind of a bit important. It's more of an significant year for us. We kind of need the players. They're important to us.
Yeah.
So, anyway, this has been the Football Podcast. That has been Neil. I have been Jonathan, and we shall see you after the international break in 2 weeks' time, 3 weeks' time, something like that. I haven't bothered to check. Well, you'll see us eventually. I think that's the best way of signing off, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, we'll see you eventually.